Gita. All right, let's make a start. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, I'll start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 11, the Universal Form. We're reciting from verse 28. Yatha nadinam bahovam bhugavega samudram eva bhimukha dravanti tathavam naraloka vira vishanti vaktrani abhivijwalanti.
As the many waves of the rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouths.
Verse 29. Yatha pradiptam jwalanam patanga vishanti nashaya samruddha vegaha tathaiva nashaya vishanti lokas tavapi vaktrani samruddha vegaha.
I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths, as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire.
It's too much disturbance. Prabhuji, I can't see verse 30 full.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Okay, verse 11:30. Leliha segra samana samantal lokan samagran vadane jwaladpi tejo birapurya jagat samagram bhashastavogra pratapanti Vishnu.
O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths. Covering all the universe with your effulgence, you are manifest with terrible scorching rays.
Verse 31. Akyahi me ko bhavanugra rupo namostu te devavara prasida vigyanatum ichchami bhavantamadhyam nahi prajanami tava pravattim.
O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is.
11:32. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalosmi Lokakshayakrit Pravriddho Lokan Samahartum Iha Pravritta Ritepi Tvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve Yeva Sthita Pratyanikshe Yota.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain.
11:33. Tasmat pamuttishta yasho labhasva jitva satrun bhungshva rajyam samriddham mayaivaite nihata purvameva nimitta matram bhava savyasachim.
Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
11:34. Dronam sabhishmam sajayadritam cha karnam tathanyanapi yodha viran maya hatam stam jahima vyavastita yudhyasvajeta sirane sapatnan.
Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight, and you will vanquish your enemies in battle.
11:35 Sanjaya Uvacha Etat Shrutva Vachanam Keshavasya Kritna Jalirvepamana Kiriti Namaskritva Bhuya Evaha Krishnam Sagadgadam Bhita Bhitaha Pranamya.
Sanjay said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjun offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows.
11:36 Arjuna Vacha Sthane Rishikesha Tava Prakritya Jagat Praharshishchati Anurajyate Cha Rakshashmi Bhitani Disho Dravanti Sarve Namasyanti Cha Siddha Sangha.
Arjun said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfect beings offer their respectful homage, the demons are afraid, and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done.
11:37 Kashmascha tena nameran mahatman Gariya se brahmanopiyati kartre Ananta devesha jagan nivasha Vamaksharam sad asattat param yat.
O Great One, greater even than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you, O limitless one, God of gods, refuge of the universe? You are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation.
11:38 Brahmadideva Purusha Puranas Tvam asya vishvasya param nidhanam Vetasya vedyam cha param cha dhama Tvaya tatam vishvam anantarupa.
You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refuge, above the material modes, O limitless form. This whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you.
11:39 Vayuryamognir varuna sashanka Prajapatistvam prapitam hastam tamahascha Namo namaste stu sahasra kritva Punascha bhuyopi namo namaste.
You are air, and you are the supreme controller. You are fire, you are water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great-grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times, and again, and yet again.
11:40 Nama purashtadatha prishtathat tathaste Namostu te sarvata eva sarva Ananta viryamita vikramastvam Sarvam samapnosi tatosi sarvaha.
Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all-pervading, and thus you are everything.
Sorry, Hare Krishna? Sorry. 11:41 and 42. Sakheti matva prashabham yaduktam He Krishna he Yadava he Sakheti Ajanata mahimanam tavedam Maya pramadat pranayena vapi Yachavahashartam asat kritosi Vihara Sayyasana
Look how
Bhoja
much enthusiasm, look how much taste they've got.
Ekotavapi
I just
Tat Samaksham Tat Shamaye Tvam Aham Aprameyam.
Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat and ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O fallible one, please excuse me for all these offenses.
1143. Pita Shilokasya Characharasya Tam Asya Pujyascha Gurur Gariyan Natvat Samosti Abhyadika Kutonyo Lokatrayepi Apratima Prabhava.
You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and the non-moving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor anyone can be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within these three worlds? O Lord of immeasurable power.
1144. Tasmat pranamya pranidhaya kayam prasadaye tvam aham ishamidyam piteva putrasya sakheva sakhyu priya priyayarhasi deva shodham.
You are the supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask for your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, or a friend tolerates the impertinence of a friend, or a wife tolerates the familiarity of her partner, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done to you.
Verse 1145. Adrishta purvam rishitosmi drishtva bhayena cha pravyathitam mano me tad eva me darshaya deva rupam prashida devesha jagan nivasa.
After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, the Lord of Lords, the abode of the universe.
1146. Kiritinam gadinam chakrahastam ichhami tvam drashtum aham tathaiva tenaiva rupena chaturbhujena sahasrabaho bhava vishvamurte.
O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head, and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form.
1147. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Prasannena Tavarjunedam Sukam Param Darshitam Atma Yogat Tejomayam Vishwamanantamadyam Yanme Tvadanyena na Drishtva Purvam.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjun, happily have I shown you by my internal potency this supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence."
1148. Na veda yagna dhyayena na dane na cha kriyabhir na tapo virugre evam rupa sakyaham nirloke drishtram tvadanyena kuru pravira.
O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine.
5 months ago.
Can everybody mute their mics, please? O best of the Kuru warriors, No one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine, for neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penances can I be seen in this form in the material world.
Verse 1149. Ma te vyatha ma cha vimudha bhavo drishtva rupam ghoramidrim mamedam vyapeta punastvam tad eva me rupamidam prapasya.
You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished, my devotee. Be free again and from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire.
Verse 1150. Sanjaya uvacha ityarjunam vasudevastatokva swakam rupam darshayam ashabhuya ashvasyam asa cha bhitam enam bhutva punah samya vapur mahatma.
Sanjay said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, having spoken thus to Arjun, displayed his four-armed form and at last showed his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjun.
Verse 1151. Arjuna uvacha drishtvedam manusam rupam tava saumyam janardana idanim asmi samvritaha sacheta prakritim gataha.
When Arjun thus saw Krishna in his universal form, in his original form, he said, O Janardhan, seeing this human-like form, so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind and I am restored to my original nature.
Verse 1152. Shri Bhagavan uvacha sudurdarsham idam rupam drishtvan asiyan mama deva api asya rupasya nityam darshana kankshinaha.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjun, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear.
1153. Naham vede na tapasa na dane na chegvaya Sakya evam vidho drishtvavan asi mam yata.
The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am.
Verse 1154. Bhaktya tav ananya ya sakya aham evam vitorjuna yatum darshtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa.
My dear Arjun, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and thus can be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding.
Verse 1155. Matkarma krin matparamo madbhakta sangavarjitaha nirvaira sarvabhutesu yasamam eti pandava.
My dear Arjun, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me.
Om Tat Sat iti Shri Bhagavad Gita Shu Upanishastu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Vishwarup Darshan Yogo Nama Ekadasho Adhyaya. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Madhu Kumari Mataji and Sharad Prabhu, for that beautiful recitation of the Sanskrit and English. I'll stop my sharing. Let me share my screen. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome again to tonight's chat session. My name is Vrindavan Chandra. I'm one of the facilitators for our daily reading of the Bhagavad Gita. And now we are studying chapter 11. For those who have joined us for the first time, a warm welcome to you. We traditionally read firstly the verses from the particular chapter or part of the chapter, and then we cover one verse in more detail. But before we do that, we also say the Mangala Charanam prayers to invoke auspiciousness for whatever we discuss or try to learn from the Bhagavad Gita. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravadi Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadishitarine. So today we are going to study or read in more detail text number 39. I am informed by some knowledgeable devotees that today is a particularly auspicious day. And it is said that this type of day appears only once every 250 years. And what's so auspicious about this day? It is said that it is the rare occurrence when all of the planets become perfectly aligned. And it was during this particular constellation that Lord Ram himself appeared on this planet Earth. And it is said, whatever one does on this particularly auspicious occasion, it has special significance and thus brings about special spiritual strength. So I'm getting some feedback. Let me see. Hare Krishna. Okay. So I do request the devotees to please mute yourself as soon as you enter the session. So we are fortunate to be reading and studying the Bhagavad Gita today on this auspicious day. And may the Lord's blessing be with all of us, that we may be able to continue and deepen our study of the Gita as time progresses more and more in our lives. So text number 39. Vayur Yamo Agni Varuna Sankshana Kaha Prajapatistvam Pratitam Mahascha Namo Namastestu Sahasrakritvaha Punascha Bhuyo Pinamo Namaste. Translation. You are air and you are the supreme controller. You are fire, you are water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times again and yet again. So this is spoken by Arjuna, this verse. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It's a short purport, but as always, Srila Prabhupada's purport, every word contains deep meaning. The Lord is addressed here as A, because the A is the most important representation of all the demigods, being all pervasive. Arjuna also addresses Krishna as the great-grandfather, because he is the father of Brahma, the first living creature in the universe. So just a quick refresh. We are now in the section which is termed Arjuna's prayers. Arjuna had requested Krishna to reveal his universal form. And there were specific reasons why Arjuna requested this, which we had discussed previously. After witnessing the universal form, Arjuna became overwhelmed with a sense of awe and reverence. And in that mood of very heightened sense of awe and reverence, he offered these prayers, some prayers. And the section from text 35 to 46 are these prayers that Arjuna had offered. And it is mentioned that he offered these prayers in a very faltering voice. One's voice becomes faltering in different circumstances, either in fear, either when one is overwhelmed, either if one is in ecstasy, or one is very happy. So it is explained that Arjuna's mood and his faltering voice is due to his mood of wonder. And in this particular purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions a few important points, which we'll try to discuss. The first thing he says, you are A. And Prabhupada mentions Arjuna is saying Krishna is A because A is considered to be the most important representation of all the demigods, it being all pervasive. And the Sanskrit word used is Vayur, A. And previously we discussed in other chapters the importance of Vayu, that without A, life on earth cannot be sustained. And then Arjuna goes on to say, Krishna, you are fire, you are water, and you are the moon. Again, there's particular significance. Without fire, we cannot survive, because in our bodies we have the fire of digestion. And without the fire of digestion, everything we eat, the digestion will not take place. And without digestion, there's no sustenance. And the same with water. We all know that water is such an essential ingredient for life. And then the moon. And there's many reasons why the moon. And in the Gita, Krishna explains that the moon is essential for the growth of vegetables. So Arjuna is using these different metaphors to again emphasize how Krishna's presence is fundamental to our existence. And then he says, you are Brahma. And he uses the word Pitamaha or Prapita Maha, because he is not Brahma, but he is the father of Brahmaji. We've known through our previous discussions that Lord Brahma is the very first living entity in this material world. And Lord Brahma takes birth from the lotus flower which emanates from the navel of Lord Vishnu. So Lord Brahma's father is Krishna. And then Prabhupada explains, or in the verse it's explained, that Krishna is the supreme controller. So in connection with Lord Brahma, Prabhupada once says, if we all trace back our existence, like each of us, we had a father. And our father had a father. And our father's father had a father. And our father's father's father had a father. And if you trace back all of the fathers to almost a point of infinity, we'll eventually come to Lord Brahma, the first living entity in this material universe. And then when we ask who is Brahma's father, we find out that it is Krishna. So Krishna is the father of all living entities. And in this way, by us having a common father means we are all connected. Just like in a family, the family members are connected by the presence of the mother and father. They have a common mother and a common father. So in this way, we trace back our existence to Krishna. And in this way, we realize we are intimately connected with Krishna, just like we feel some deep connection with our parents because of that birth connection. So in the same way, having this realization that Krishna is also our father, it immediately brings out an intimate connection with the Lord. And also not only a connection with the Lord, but we immediately have a realization of our connection with each other. All of us are connected. And our connection is Krishna. So we should never feel that we are strangers with anyone. We should never feel that only our immediate family are important to us. It is therefore the great Vaishnavas and the great devotees, they consider the entire planet of Earth to be their families, not only the human beings, but also other living entities. So this particular spiritual fact is quite important for our own consciousness in terms of how we see each other and how we see everyone else and every other living entity that we exist with. Then it is mentioned by Arjuna that Krishna is the supreme controller. In the Bhagavad Gita, the 5th chapter, text 29, there's one important verse which is called the peace formula. Prabhupada said this verse is the peace formula. Bhaktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suridam sarva bhutanam jatva mam shantim richati. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material existence. As I was explaining, Prabhupada explained that this verse is the peace formula. To understand that Krishna is the supreme controller and we are his servants, and that he is the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, and he is the supreme lord of all living entities and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. Just this very, very simple spiritual fact can actually change our consciousness and change the consciousness of the world. Because all strife in this world comes about by people wanting to be controllers. Some want to be a little controllers of their children, some want to be little controllers of their family, some want to be the controllers of their town, their village, their country, and the planet Earth. But it all comes back to the same disease, no matter small or big. It is this false sense, this false consciousness that we are some controllers to some degree. No. The position of the living entity is that we are always servants. Dasa, dasa, anudasa. And this is what peace and happiness comes from. Understanding this very basic spiritual fact that we are not controllers. We can never become controllers. And the best, safest, happiest, most peaceful position to be in is to realize that we are servants. And then we come back to one very important aspect, And this is a repeated theme we've been noticing from the last few verses. Arjuna says, Namo Namaste, Stu Sahasra Kritvaha, Punascha Bhuyopi, Namo Namaste. He says, I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times and again and yet again. So Arjuna, he's saying, I offer my respectful obeisances to you 1,000 times. And after 1,000 times, again and yet again. And this is what is repeated for a few verses now, and he'll go on repeating it for a few verses in the future. So this principle of offering obeisances is a very important principle. And it is a fundamental principle of Vaishnava culture. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada writes, the more we offer obeisances to sannyasis, especially Vaishnava sannyasis, the more we diminish our offenses and purify our hearts. Only in the purified heart can Krishna Prem awaken. This is the process of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult, the Krishna consciousness movement. So Prabhupada is making an important statement there, that the process of offering obeisances again and again, it is a very important part of our process. Why? Because by offering obeisances, Prabhupada writes, we diminish our offenses and we thus purify our hearts. Now we'll discuss a little bit more how the simple act of offering obeisances purifies our hearts. There's one nice pastime with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's, one of his early disciples was a young devotee by the name of Garga Muni Das. So Garga Muni, he didn't have this feeling of offering obeisances. And I'll read this account by Brahmananda, who was actually Garga Muni's brother, elder brother, but also one of the early disciples. When the Swami walked into the storefront to give class, now just to put this into context, when Srila Prabhupada first went to America, he landed in Boston and then eventually he moved to New York City. And in New York City, in the very degraded area, he opened up a storefront and he was attracting followers. And every day, Srila Prabhupada would come into the storefront and he would give class. So when the Swami walked into the storefront to give class, everyone bowed down. And I started bowing down too. Garga Muni was the only one who wouldn't. He would just sit there. This went on for some time and Garga Muni felt a little self-conscious about it. After class, Prabhupada will always ask for questions. And one occasion, Garga Muni said, when you come to the temple room, everyone bows down. But I don't feel like bowing down, so I'm not going to do it because it would be artificial. I am asking if this is all right. So he's asking this of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, you should bow down. By bowing down, the feeling will come. This was a very nice instruction. And when Garga Muni started doing that, it worked. So what feeling is Prabhupada referring to here? Two feelings. One is by bowing down, you start to feel again and again you'd like to bow down. And secondly, by bowing down, one feels the sense of surrender enter one's heart and one's consciousness. Therefore, Prabhupada said, the devotee should offer his obeisances to the spiritual master. And in the 8th stanza of the Guru Vastakam, which we sing every day, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, Yasya prasadan nagati kadopi, Dayans tu vams tasya Yasya Shri Sandhyam, Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda. By satisfaction of the spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes satisfied. And by not satisfying the spiritual master, there is no chance of being promoted to the plane of Krishna consciousness. I should therefore meditate and pray for his mercy 3 times a day, and I offer my respectful obeisances unto him, my spiritual master. So this is part of Vaishnav culture, that the disciple offers at least 3 times a day obeisances. And we'll talk a bit more just now about what type of obeisances. At least 3 times a day. So Srila Prabhupada is the Param Guru, he is Jagat Guru. So you may think that I don't have a guru, so who will I offer obeisances to? You at least offer obeisances, we at least offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, who is the Jagat Guru, at least 3 times a day. And simply by this act and this process of offering obeisances at least 3 times a day, we will experience a transformation in our consciousness. And Prabhupada once wrote to one disciple, "You have also mentioned to repeatedly offer obeisances to your spiritual master. This is very important. A disciple should offer dandavats, not namaskar. The more one becomes fixed up in Guru obeisances, the more he advances in spiritual progress." And again, Prabhupada quotes this verse, quotes another verse, Yasya Deve Parabhakti. And Prabhupada is saying here, the more fixed up we become in offering obeisances, what happens? The more we advance spiritually. And Prabhupada says, what type of obeisances? Obeisances, this is called dandavats. Dandavats, full obeisances, where the body, 6 parts of the body contact the ground, like a rod we do. Today I went to the temple to take darshan, and when you enter the temple room, there's a sign. You only offer namaskar. You don't offer dandavat. And since the lockdown, whenever I went to take darshan, and I had to abide by this rule, I just felt very, very awkward. It was like I was not able to truly express my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and the deities. Because he said that when there is unity of body, mind, intelligence, and the soul, then one experiences what is called full sharanagati, full surrender. So if, obviously we can offer mentally, but when the act of that body falls down in front of the spiritual master, in front of Srila Prabhupada, there is a change in our consciousness. And it's a tangible change in consciousness. Today I went to take darshan in the temple, and mentally I offered my dandavats, but I was just feeling so much I wanted to offer full dandavats to Srila Prabhupada as an act of surrender. So the Vaishnav culture is that. And this culture comes all the way back from Lord Brahma. In the 10th canto, 13th chapter, verse 62, Prabhupada explains, Danda means stick. And dandavat, I just want to mute somebody. Danda means sticks and vat means like. So Lord Brahma, after committing the offense to Lord Krishna, he bowed down like a stick. And because Lord Brahma's complexion is golden, he appeared like a golden stick lying down before Lord Krishna. When one falls down before his superior like a stick, one's offering of obeisances is called dandavat. Danda means stick and vat means like. It is not that one should simply say dandavat, rather one must fall down. Thus Brahma fell down, touching his forehead to the lotus feet of Krishna, and his crying in ecstasy is to be regarded as an abhishek bathing ceremony of Lord Krishna's lotus feet. So Lord Brahma, he offered this full dandavat to Lord Krishna. It was a sign of full surrender. And our Vaishnav culture is this, that we offer full Dandavat as a sign of surrender, as a sign of complete surrender. And Prabhupada writes, offering obeisances will relieve them of all the reactions to their offenses. Then by my grace, devotional service, bhakti will awaken in their pure hearts. Actually, this is a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita spoken by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the Nectar of Instruction, a very, very important book written by Srila Rupa Goswami, which is regarded as one of the handbooks of Krishna consciousness. In the text number 5, Lord Srila Rupa Goswami gives some guidance of how one should offer respects to various persons. And he says one should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation diksha and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve the pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. Actually, Prabhupada explains further on, I'm not sure if it's in this purport, but one should not actually look to see, is that devotee initiated? Maybe I should offer obeisances to him. No. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the Shishashtakam, Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi suhushnina amanina manadena kirtanya sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige. And in that such a state of mind, one can chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. So this practice or this culture of offering obeisances, and especially obeisances to the Vaishnavas and to the Lord, it's a very important aspect of our culture, and it is a very important aspect to aligning our consciousness to a mode of complete surrender. And maybe I will share one, if I can find it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay, now let me stop here. Just bear with me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. So this is a Babaji offering his Dandavats in Govardhan, which my video doesn't want to play. Hare Krishna. Anyway, in Govardhan in India, a Govardhan Parikram is about 21 kilometers. You have certain devotees that do what is called Dandavat Parikrama. So Govardhan Parikrama, you see this Babaji, he has 108 stones. So he offers 108 Dandavats in the same spot. And then he moves to the next length of his body and he offers Dandavat again. And the great Vaishnavas, they do this around Govardhan repeatedly. Some of them do it their whole life. And simply by this one act of offering constant Dandavats in their life, they go back to Godhead. So Arjuna is teaching us a wonderful lesson about this principle and culture of offering Dandavats. So sorry, I've gone a bit over time today. I'll stop here and I'll take any questions or comments that you may have.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
When you go to the temple and you do bow down and you do Srila Prabhupada and then you do the deities and then obviously any sannyasis, senior sannyasis that come. But then if you're doing service and you go in and out of the temple, for example, I was doing cleaning service one day. I was going, do I have to keep bowing down every time I enter? I know it sounds a very simple question, but if you're doing service, and you enter the temple all the time, do you have to keep bowing down, or can you just do it once and that's it?
I think to answer your question, I would phrase another question. Is there more spiritual benefit to us by bowing down or not bowing down? Obviously, it is by bowing down. So the more we bow down, the more spiritual benefit we make. But also, this bowing down should not be mechanical. Very often in our spiritual lives, it's like sometimes, oh, we have to bow down, we go to the temple. We do that.
Yeah.
You know? No, it is bowing down. I personally try as much as possible, even if I've entered the temple 4 or 5 times before, if I enter again, I'll bow down. But I bow down, I try to focus my consciousness on why I'm bowing down. So I would say we should try and do it as much as possible and do it every time we enter the temple, but don't do it mechanically. Do it in the right consciousness. And sometimes if you don't do it because don't do it for the wrong reasons, or maybe there's some other devotee sitting in the temple, what they will think if I don't bow down. Or if you bow down, don't bow down, you start to feel many things. Just do it for the right reason. And the right reason is for our purification. And as Prabhupada has explained, every time we bow down, we become freed of offenses. Because imagine we bow down, and while we're bowing down, we think we're bowing down to Srila Prabhupada, we think we're bowing down to the deities, and we think we're bowing down to all of the Vaishnavas. Once one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, during our service, we create so much of offenses to the other Vaishnavas. Unknowingly. How will we become freed of those offenses? And Srila Prabhupada explains every morning when the devotees get together, they bow down and they recite the prayers Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. If you do that, and in your mood, you think, I am asking for forgiveness from all the Vaishnavas, then you become free. But it's an individual thing, Savita, but I would say from a personal point of view, the more the better.
But if you're doing a service that it requires you to keep going in and out, because I was doing it to start off with all the time, and then it just didn't make sense because it was, like you said, it was mechanical.
Okay.
I've already done it a few times, but I'm doing a service that I have to come in and out of the temple room because I was cleaning the temple room.
That's fine then. That's fine. That's
okay.
fine. Yeah,
okay.
That's fine.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
According to that question, I just wanted to ask that Prabhu, you keep bowing down, but then if you're doing certain type of service, means you have to keep washing that hands, or you have to keep purify your hands all the time.
Yes, if you're doing deity service, if you go out, you always do Achaman when you enter the altar again. But the point I'd like to make is not to get too caught up in the detail. The principle is more important. And the principle is by bowing down and bowing down in the right consciousness, we become purified. That is the principle. But as you said, Krishna Vani Mataji, if you are doing deity service, if you touch the floor, Yeah, sometimes the pujaris do Achaman again, sometimes not, but generally they do Achaman again.
Do they do the full Ashman?
No, they just do the 3 drops on the left hand, 3 drops on the right hand. Yeah.
Oh. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. There's a question.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
yes, when we first enter into the temple, is there a sequence that we should bow down before deities first or for Srila Prabhupada first?
Srila Prabhupada first.
Okay.
We always bow down before the spiritual master first. And we bow down with the spiritual master on our left-hand side.
Spiritual master on our left-hand side.
Yeah, therefore you see in most of our temples, as you enter, we pass Srila Prabhupada first. Guru before Govind. By the mercy of Guru, we'll approach Govinda better.
And when we bow down, the Srila Prabhupada should be on our left side.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can I just add something? This is Madhu Kumari.
Sure, Madhu Kumari.
So I think I either read somewhere or heard somewhere that when we enter, we also bow down first before we go to our before we go to Prabhupada. And the reason is that when we enter and we bow down, we are actually saying the prayers to all the Vaishnavas who are already in the temple room. So we actually say the Vanchakalpatru prayers because we are praying to all the Vaishnavas.
Oh, okay.
And then we move on to the deity of Srila Prabhupada, and then we move on to the lordships.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And there's a question here. Women do not offer dandavats. Should they be? Not in the temple room, no. In the public place, the women do not offer dandavats, but the women, as we saw in the diagram, in the temple diagram, Mataji is now in the temple room. They offer like this, generally. Yeah, Matajis don't offer full dandavats in the temple. Hare Krishna. Okay, that's just a comment. Are there any other questions or comments?
So when you bow down to Guru, you say the Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Padaya, Buddhale. And then when you pronounce the deities, did you say the same prayers as well?
Yes. Devotees do say the same. They say the prayers to the Guru again and then the deities. Yeah.
It's the same prayer, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Padaya, for both.
Yes.
So
Yes.
left-hand side, okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah. There's a question from, okay, yes, Mataji.
I wanted to, I don't know, this kind of a question, or if someone is initiated, then we first say the Guru Pranama mantra, like your own spiritual masters, and then you say the Srila Prabhupada Pranama mantra. Is that correct, Prabhu?
You mean you're offering obeisance to someone who's initiated? Is that your question?
Yeah, because yes, because if somebody is initiated, then you have to first say the Guru Pranama, your own spiritual.
No. If someone is initiated, you say, obviously, if it's your Guru, he's also initiated, you say his Pranam mantra.
Yeah.
But everyone else, you say the Vaishnava Pranam mantra. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha.
No, I'm not saying in front of everybody, for your own inside. Like this is not in a class or something.
Yes.
Like if you're offering, if you go to the temple room and you go to Srila Prabhupada, at that time, how would you do it?
Okay, if you go into Srila Prabhupada, you say Srila Prabhupada's Pranam mantra.
Is it only that?
Yes.
Okay, because some say this way also. So I was just wanting to, since this question came up, I thought let me ask.
Yeah, I mean, I could only say what I've been taught and what I do. If I go in front of Srila Prabhupada, I say Srila Prabhupada's Pranam mantra.
Not both?
Both Pranam mantras, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Here's a question from Geta. How do we retain the feeling that Krishna is always with us now? We have little opportunity to visit the temple and we are on the go during busy days. What should be meditation during work day, for example? Prabhupada said, one devotee asked Prabhupada the question. He says, I'm in the temple, I can remember. But now when I go to work, how do I remember Krishna? And Prabhupada said, very simple. You simply think, I am doing this for Krishna. Whatever you are doing, there will be some fruit, and that fruit is for the service of Krishna and his devotees. And so Prabhupada's simple advice was, if we're not in the temple, we are out and about doing something else, just simply think, we are doing this for Krishna. Someone may say, okay, I'm going for my morning walk, I'm not in the temple. What should be our meditation then? There can be many meditations, as we've learned in the Bhagavad Gita. We can see Krishna in his creation all around us. And yes, as we learned in Bhagavad Gita, how we can see Krishna and his opulence everywhere. All right, there's one comment. Thank you. It's 8:47 now. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, Rita Kumari, you have. I want to know if a person has a joint problem and can't kneel down and do pranam, what shall I do when I do pranam at the temple? Oh, nice question. Then you can do mentally. It is said Krishna sees the mood. When I went to the temple, that's what I did. I was mentally seeing myself offering full dandavat and offering the prayers. So for some reason we cannot physically do it, then mentally we can do it, and that is also acceptable in that condition or that state, physical state. Do it mentally. Mentally, in full consciousness, mentally imagine ourselves offering dandavat and offering prayers to the Guru, and that Krishna and the spiritual master accepts equally, otherwise.
We can also do pranam standing up, isn't it?
Yes, you can do.
Yeah, so even when you are...
That is called, Prabhupada said in the purport we were reading, that's called namaskar.
Namaskar, yes.
Yeah, so Prabhupada draws the distinction between namaskar and dandavat.
Yes.
And he said for Vaishnavas, we do dandavat.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mata.
I don't know if this is right, but when I'm in the temple, I normally sit near a Mataji who can't kneel at all.
Yeah.
And I kneel down with a bit difficulty, but I also do the mime the action and touch her on the forehead. And she smiles, so she receives it very happily and with I wondered if that's a good thing. I mean, it feels good anyway.
Yeah, it sounds very good to me. It's you pleasing the Vaishnava, and she's recognizing that you're offering on her behalf.
Yes, and she loves it. She always looks forward to it, actually. Yeah.
That's very good. Wonderful.
Very nice. Thank you.
All right. Yes, many obeisances, because there'll come a time where we cannot bow down, we cannot kneel, our body will creak. So may as well do as many as we can, and it certainly will purify ourselves. So thank you very much, everyone, for your kind questions, your participation, your attention, and your attendance. We'll meet again tomorrow. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.